Hello, today we're going to take a look at NetInspect's first article inspection solution. For those of you that are less familiar with NetInspect, we are a comprehensive web-based supply chain and quality management software. We're a full SaaS solution, so there's nothing for you to install or maintain locally. All of the data is hosted on Microsoft Azure Government, and our solution's used by more than 7,000 companies around the world. Companies use our solution for different reasons, but some of them include reducing costs, improving quality, streamlining processes, or just maintaining compliance with some of the requirements across the industry. It's important to companies to use a single system for managing data internally and across their supply chain, including sub-tiers. Given our web-based platform, NetInspect is built as an end-to-end collaboration tool so that you can collaborate with your peers internally or with your suppliers across the supply chain. We have multiple solutions included. We design them in the form of modules or applications, and they're all deeply integrated with one another. Today we're going to focus on our first article in supply chain management solution, as these two go hand in hand with one another. Within our FAI solution, you can use third-party tools to extract data from the drawing or model. You can then generate first articles for electronic submission to your customers. You can receive FAIs electronically from your suppliers. You can bring in a PO feed and set due dates for FAIs internally or across your supply chain. And you can track all the metrics related to your FAI activity. As mentioned, as suppliers start sending in first articles to you, we map all the suppliers so that you can search and retrieve data by zip code, country, county, and more. We also have all the built-in export controls needed to maintain export compliance. Some of the benefits include the ability to completely eliminate paper FAIs. Many customers use our solution as their full electronic sole repository of first articles. You can easily search and retrieve any FAI and all the documents that you've associated. You can gain real-time visibility to internal and supplier FAIs. You can reduce the amount of time it takes to receive customer approvals for FAIrs, and you can reduce the amount of time it takes to review supplier FAIs. There are different ways to create FAIs inside of NetInspect. The first option is just manually entering the data into an electronic form. Companies that do hand bubbling or might have older prints that don't work with OCR technology might use this option. The second option is to utilize third-party software such as Capvidia, Discus, Inceptra, Inspection Expert, or SolidWorks Inspection. These tools all have built-in publish to NetInspect options. The third option is to type the data into Excel and then upload the Excel template. And the fourth option is to copy or create an FAI from an existing FAI. We also have a delta function, so in the event you need to create a partial and you want to create a hyperlink between the original and the partial that you're creating, a delta might be appropriate for you. I'm now going to walk you through a demo. Today I'm going to use a tool called Inspection Expert, but it's very similar to another tool called SolidWorks Inspection. Here inside of Inspection Expert, I've already populated a lot of information. So I've got my part name, part number, part revision. I've also captured 10 bubbles. So you can see in my table manager under characteristic, I have 3 notes and then a few dimensions, a geometric tolerance, and a radius callout. Under the specifications tab, I've captured 1 material and 3 processes. And then I don't yet have anything captured in the bill of materials section. Whenever I'm ready to publish this data to NetInspect, there's a Publish to NetInspect button in the Home ribbon. I put in my username, password, and company name. I can choose whether this is a detail and assembly, a full or a partial, and then I can choose to create a new FAI, append, or overwrite an FAI. Inspection Expert will automatically generate a PDF of the bubbled print, and I can leave that checked to upload it automatically to a NetInspect first article. When I hit publish, it just takes a few moments, and then it returns to me a success message with the FAIR number that was created. Here it created FAIR number 2052. At this point I could go open another drawing, publish another first article to NetInspect, or I can close this application and open my browser and sign into NetInspect and view this FAI. When I log into NetInspect, I'm taken to a dashboard. The dashboard contains widgets that I can drag and rearrange or add and remove from my dashboard. And across the top, I've got the different applications available. When I select First Articles and View Internal, I'll see a list of all the FAIs in my account with a status for each FAI. Here I can see 2052 at the top, and I haven't yet specified which customer this FAI is for. When I open the FAI, I can see that Inspection Expert published a lot of the fields already. I can type any additional information in, such as PO number or manufacturing process reference, if I didn't already capture that inside of my bubbling tool. And then in the customer field, I'll select which customer this FAI belongs to. When I select the customer, I might also need to select which division I'm submitting it to, or just select which program this part is for. When I apply that customer, any unique customer requirements will appear. So now I have a checklist on the far right-hand side that this customer requires I complete prior to submitting the FAI. If this is an assembly FAI, I can add detail components, and NetInspect makes it easy to build assembly first articles. Once you have detail first articles in the system or any subassembly FAIs, as I start typing the part number, it will search the account and I can hyperlink in those detail FAIs. If I have a large bill of materials section, it may make more sense to bring that in from Excel, and then I can update or search and link subassemblies based on the data that I've captured. Throughout the system, you'll see blue question marks, so if users ever wonder what the field is for, they can mouse over it, see whether it's required or conditionally required per AS9102, and see the descriptions brought forward directly from AS9102. We also have help question marks built in throughout the product, so you can select the blue question mark and identify the help desk article, and we've got a searchable knowledge base available to users as well. On Form 2, I've got the 1 material and 3 processes that I identified in Inspection Expert. At this point, I could identify the supplier of these components, and you can build your own drop-downs inside of NetInspect to utilize. And I can upload reference documents. So if, say, I have the certification for this material, I can upload it, or any special processing certs. As I upload these certifications, it will hyperlink them on Form 2, and it will also add them to my Documents tab. On my Documents tab, I can see Inspection Expert published a PDF of the bubble drawing, and I can open and view that. I can also attach any additional documents that might be helpful for me in the event I have an audit, or as my customers reviewing this FAI, if there's anything else they need to review. I can change the descriptions, I can provide a category, and then upload those document attachments. This could be PDF documents, Excel files, photos. There's no restriction except for no executables could be attached for security reasons. On Form 3, I have my 3 notes, my dimensions, a profile, and a radius. So all this information came directly from Inspection Expert. At this point, I can go through and input any information. I also have the ability to upload CMM results using NetInspect's measurement collection service. If I drop the CMM on the right-hand side, it'll try to find the characteristic numbers, but if, say, those don't match my bubbled print, there's an auto match available based on description, line number, or specification. When I plug in this auto match based on specification, it finds all my results against the specifications. I can hit submit, and it will post those results directly to Form 3 from my CMM file. So now there's no need to manually look back and forth and key in those results. If any specifications require multiple results, it's easy for me to add additional result fields and key in the data. And I can also add and capture comments associated with any of these items. These first three features were visual, but say I want to update a qualified tooling column for the other fields. There's the ability to do bulk update. I can choose which column I want to update, input the information, maybe inspection tool, put in CMM, update those columns in bulk. So I don't have to, I can go one by one if I choose to, or use the bulk update to update multiple fields at once. Our first article is relatively simple. It just has 10 items, but many of our users have FAIs with thousands of features. So NetInspect can scale to support those, and you can view up to 100 features on a page at a time. NetInspect always color codes the results, so you can get a quick view of the percentage of tolerance used. Yellow indicates between 50 and 100%, red is out of tolerance, and green is 0 to 50%. And if any of these results were to be out of tolerance, we would also require the nonconformance number field. So this would be enforced per AS9102. Other tools include adding additional columns, the ability to export this to Excel, modify it in Excel, and then import it back to NetInspect. And then if you want to leverage this data for your inspection plans inside of quality management, you can use these links to update inspection plan and then view and modify the inspection plan. NetInspect has two capabilities to help users actively participate in the FAI process. One is called workflows, which are a standard set of steps that you might want different departments to complete every time you create an FAI. So this could be steps such as planning, quality, inspection. You choose what order and how many days, and then only the appropriate users can approve those workflow steps. As the steps are completed, the workflow will be fulfilled, and at that point the FAI can be signed and submitted to the customer. If there's an active workflow on the FAI without all the steps completed, it will block submission to the customer. So that's a great tool to help ensure that your FAI is fully reviewed and approved by all stakeholders before it's submitted. There's also the capability for task. This is a helpful tool if, say, you just need a particular user to take action. You can state which date you'd like them to take action and give them a description. So I can say things like, please review Form 3 results. Add that, and at this point Brian will get an email notifying him that he has a task due today. You could schedule these in the future. They could even be after the FAI is submitted. These tasks are all consolidated and viewable by hitting the user's user ID and selecting View My Task. So I can see things that I've created for other people or tasks that have been created and assigned to me. The last tab includes a checklist which was flowed down from the customer. Here I have a few questions that I need to answer, like is a bubble drawing attached or CFC attached? And these questions are all customizable, so you can decide which questions you'd like to have on your supplier's checklist. And they're good reminders to help prevent common mistakes that occur when creating and submitting FAIs. When we're ready to submit this FAI to the customer, we can scroll down. We're going to mark this FAI as complete because it does not have any nonconformances on Form 3. And then we'll sign all forms. Signing field 19 will lock forms 1, 2, and 3. But at this point, I could still review and choose to unlock the forms. However, once I sign field 21, this will submit the FAI to the customer. You can ensure that users that sign field 21 are different than field 29, but for time's sake, I'm going to go ahead and sign both fields. There is the opportunity to track the reason for the FAIR, so I can capture the reason, and my customer can view the reason, and there's analytics around these reasons. I can put in comments for my customer, such as please review ASAP. And when I hit OK, it'll sign field 21, submit this FAI to the customer, and the customer will receive an electronic notice that there's an FAI waiting for review. If I return to the FAIR list, I can see again my list of all my first articles, and I can see that 2052 that we were just working on is now pending buy-off. So I've fully submitted it to the customer. I can see who signed it, and there's multiple columns here. I can choose to bring in additional columns such as PO number or part revision. We have several columns to choose from. And I can add, remove those, and NetInspect will remember the user's preferences, including which order you prefer to see the columns displayed. I've now logged in as the customer, and here I'm Ron inside of Customer Company ITAR. Ron's the customer that I just submitted that FAI to, and Ron got a notice to sign into NetInspect and review that FAI. To find that FAI, Ron's going to go to First Articles and View Supplier. And there at the top of my list is 2052 from NetInspect Demo ITAR. I can open that FAI as the customer. I can look at all of the data fields, including subassembly FAIs that have been hyperlinked in. I can review information on Form 2, including those reference documents. I can look at the results on Form 3, and again, they're color-coded for me for quick review and analysis. I can open any of the document attachments, and I can review the responses to the checklist. As the customer, I can go into buy-off mode if there's any fields that need correction, and I can apply comments. Any comments that I apply are directly on the field. I can do this on any form. And when I disapprove the FAI back to the supplier, I can attach any additional documents I want them to reference, and I can give them instructions. As the customer, I can then go through and continue reviewing FAIs from my suppliers, but the supplier will get a notice that that FAI was disapproved. At any time too, I can go look and see whether the suppliers made the updates that I had requested. Now back in the supplier account, I can see that FAI is now classified as disapproved for buy-off. When I open that FAI, I can see the corrections that I need to make on Form 1. I can see that I need to make a correction on Form 2. And all changes are tracked. So if I change this to say C.3, but I also update the PO number, my customer will be notified that I made changes not only to Field 7, but Field 12 as well. These field level rejection comments make it very easy to identify what needs to be corrected. It allows me to correct and efficiently resubmit it back to the customer. At any point I can see the comments and I can see how many times it's been submitted and rejected by my customer. All of that data is tracked, and we also do analytics around the reason for rejection so that companies become more efficient and help eliminate some of those repeat causes for FAI rejection. When an FAI is fully bought off, it'll turn green, and when I filter and open any of these first articles that are fully approved, I'll see their signatures in field 19, 21, and field 23. At any point, again, I can look at those FAIR comments and see the history. I can export it, and then you've got all documents readily accessible for viewing in the event there's ever an audit, maybe even years into the future related to this part number. I can quickly retrieve the FAI and all document attachments. This filter page and the searching capabilities are designed to help bring data forward efficiently. So if I'm looking for a particular part number, I can search for that part. I can see that we've got 3 FAIs, 2 are in work, 1's been disapproved by our customer, and I can scroll through and further filter on any of these columns available. Data can also be exported, so any view I can export to Excel. I can choose which columns to include, which filters to apply, and can put that data into Excel. FAIR requirements allows us to identify due dates for FAIs and the real-time visibility of whether they're completed and fulfilled before the due date or whether they're perhaps past due. We can look at what we've received from customers for our own internal due dates or what we've sent to suppliers and whether those are late. The supplier tree helps us identify all the bill of materials and identify whether any items in the bill of materials have missing FAIs or missing subassembly FAIs. Our supplier map will visualize all the companies that support us with products. We can select the company, see a street view of their location. We can look at the FAIs that they produce for us. And we can see where even in some cases a supplier might be both a Tier 1 and a Tier 2 supplier. So this supplier produces 14 parts for us directly and one as a Tier 2 that they might submit to another one of our suppliers. You can do point-by-point mapping or drill in on any particular area or search for a geographic region. So here we can see there's 2 very close to one another in this area and zoom out and see their relationship to the other supplier. The FAIR portal will summarize all of our FAI activity. It'll show us what suppliers that we have externally and how many parts they're producing by supplier, program, division, or first article. We can also look internally and see what programs we're supporting or look specifically at FAIRs and search across all records for any part numbers. Finally, the Reports tab will summarize all the reports available, and then we can select any one of these reports and drill into more detail. So for instance, if I want to look at number of FAIs by program, I can change these filters and then add any additional filters. So maybe I'm looking for just internal FAIs that we've created for a particular customer. And maybe I want to look at those by signature. So I can see which users are signing and supporting most of those FAIs. I can move between the charts, so FAIR requirements will show us FAI due dates and our tracking on how we're doing for those due dates. Cycle time will show us how long it's taking from FAI creation to submission, submission to buy-off. First pass yield will show us what percentage of FAIs are approved on the first attempt. FAIR leveled rejection comments will show us why FAIs are rejected, so we can see why we're getting our internal FAIs are rejected or why our supplier FAIs are getting rejected. And disapproval quantity shows us how bad the problem is. How many times does an FAI get disapproved before it's finally approved? To summarize, NetInspect again is a web-based solution that makes it easy for you to collaborate with internal teams or your suppliers and your customers all in one location. We've got great analytics built in, great search tools, and all user access controls are consolidated within user management, and all preferences can be managed within company setup. Many customers ask us, why NetInspect? First, we have a strong ecosystem of aerospace companies. So as you start to use the product or deploy it across your supply chain, there's a high probability that many of your suppliers are already using NetInspect. And as you start to ask customers whether you can use NetInspect to submit your first articles to them electronically, you might find that many of them are already familiar with NetInspect and willing to review your FAIs electronically. NetInspect has an expertise in supply chain oriented solutions and is really designed to enable that real-time collaboration between you and your customers and you and your suppliers. Our staff is knowledgeable around the aerospace industry and unique requirements specific to the industry, and you have 24/7 support access to our help desk group. This includes phone, email, and they'll schedule web meetings as needed to support you. Lastly, companies choose NetInspect to provide a secure and compliant platform with a turnkey implementation program. So our system is readily available for usage. We have a rapid onboarding process to help you get started quickly and efficiently, and really a turnkey process leveraging a lot of the best practices that we've accrued over the years. I appreciate your time and attention today. If you have any follow-up questions, you can always reach us at sales@net-inspect.com. You can call us at 425-233-6176, or you can visit our website at net-inspect.com. Thank you.